What's up, man? We chilling tonight. Hey. I need to feel tonight, man. Hey, man, where my radio, man? Yeah. I need you to turn that up. Jamming tonight. Turn on the radio. You and I turn on the radio. Yeah. Turn on the radio. You and I turn on the radio.
Pull the way up like we in a club. Fly flashy, grown classy, so turn to the dub. Saturday mornings, no walk of shame, we fresh up. 950 lounge, that's my guilty pleasure. I don't miss my favorite show, I put everything on hold. Work the baby, even the babysitter know. When 950 come on, don't bother. I'm locked in 10 to 1, no problem.
Turn on the radio. You and I turn on the radio. Yeah. Turn on the radio. You and I turn on the radio. We are back on the ride. Of course, the greatest Show. We're going to find a Saturday Nazi Lounge live on a Saturday. Big shout again to Ghost and Raw for coming here. And we're all so sweet. Like I said, you know, me posting my stuff without even asking.
They gone now, all right?
But we have another gentleman, and obviously the clock, the calendar has put over to the 9th month of the year, and that's normally Fashion Week in this town. And we have a person here who, I must say, along with the lovely Yvonne, I get my weekday fix when I listen to them on weekday afternoons in the middle of the day after dealing with knuckleheads in business. They do a Saturday afternoon, a weekday afternoon show that I really enjoy. This gentleman's a book author. He's a fashion designer. Look, he's styling. He's making us look bad. He got the. But ladies and gentlemen,
for yourself, man.
I know. You got the belly there. Ladies and gentlemen,
I do too. That's why I got this jacket button.
book author, radio host, fashion consultant, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Delvon Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How you guys doing?
Thank you. I was a little concerned. I think I spoke to you.
He always dressed like that. What are you talking about?
Listen, you don't see me weekdays play.
Yeah, but you always say on the weekends, this is how you dress.
I just, listen, it's not the why.
What did you ever say that? Nothing goes on you but
hold on.
silk and linen, whatever.
Exactly. No, that's you, linen and polyester. No, I just said that he came stylish. That was the compliment.
He gotta represent. If you a stylist, right?
I'm a little bit of everything, but yes, that's one of the titles.
If you came in here with a t-shirt and some capris,
listen, but it don't matter if you know how to rock it properly. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Fashion is fashion.
Did you get your romper yet?
Huh? Did I get my romper yet? Not yet. Now, nobody wanted to make that bet with me. It was a bet last year. I was gonna buy a romper and wear it.
I really didn't want to see that, Just.
I was gonna buy a romper. It's so close. It's close.
But Delvon, again, thanks for coming, man. You first of all, like I said again, and the show you and Yvonne do on weekdays, it was on Facebook. I think you guys we talked about it. But that is something that and I will recommend anybody who's has a rough job. If you take lunch around 12. It's definitely something that will help you get through the rest of the day. Kind of talk about how you got that together, because that's a really fun experience.
It's a crazy story. In fact, we was reminiscing on it this morning because we just recently put back up our website, and it was fashionandthefastlane.com, and now it's fashionetctv.com. But all of the old content from Fashion and the Fast Lane is on the website. So it started with a radio show, actually.
Right.
The radio show was called Fashion Accelerated. And Yvonne and I would come in t-shirt and jeans and sweats at 10 o'clock at night for a 2-hour show.
Right.
And, a lot of her friends and family from England would tune in and listen to the show. But what we didn't know was they were filming the show, and they were seeing us. So we had no idea of this until one of her friends said, "Oh, we see you guys when you're on camera." So we was like, "What?" And we're in sweatpants, no makeup, just looking crazy.
Just like us on a normal basis.
Exactly. So, well,
he's talking for himself.
I know, Rhoda, you wear a lot of makeup.
I know. On radio, it's like, okay, put on a scarf, who cares? It's no big deal.
Right.
So when we realized now that it was camera, we were being filmed, we were like, okay, we have to come, ready, prepared, dressed. And from that point, we did. So I told Yvonne as we went on, the weather started getting crazy. We was getting tired of coming into the city to do the studio thing every day, every week.
Yeah.
It was becoming too much. So I was like, why don't we just do a talk show?
Yeah.
So that January, which was this past January, we actually, pulled up the cameras and we played with it, and it's very impromptu. It's really no. Like people always ask us how do we produce it, but it's just us talking. It's
Right.
really today's topic is going to be
Off the cuff, off the dome.
it's really off the cuff.
Yeah.
With the exception of we'll say, we'll look at, what's going on online, what's going on in hot topics and what have you, and then we'll just go from there.
And the beauty of it, you don't, well, Yvonne too, but you really don't mind digging into somebody. Like you got an opinion, it's just gonna fly. You're like, well, I'm just gonna let you have it.
And people love when me and her argue.
Yeah.
They love when we get into it. 'Cause she's so stush, that's her word, stush. And me being a city boy, and she's so, and when we get into it, it's hilarious. Everybody loves it. So we did our 100th show over the
Congrats.
summer.
Nice.
And we're having a big launch party next Friday the 7th.
Is 950 invited?
Of course.
All
Of
right.
course.
Anytime black people say something, we gotta hear it from your lips. All right. So you be like, who invited Tom? I don't know.
Yvonne
You
is a
was just on
very
the show,
important
man.
member to this brand, so and I say that on this mic. But let's go into you have such an illustrious career, and you've dealt with a lot of adversity. How did you first? Because again, stylish, but how did you first get into the fashion game? There's a lot of people who they can hook their hair and match a couple of colors, but there's obviously a talent, and you have that. How did that all start for you way back when getting involved in fashion?
Well, it started with my book. 2000, not this one. This is the second one.
Right.
So before you read this one, you have to get the first one.
To catch up.
Right. So the first book that I wrote was called Love Yourself First. And at the time I was corporate, so I was working at AT&T.
Right.
I've always liked fashion. I've always liked to dress up and go out and what have you. But then when I wrote the book, the book is, Love Yourself First is really about a guy that starts in a fashion consultant as a fashion consultant, and I wrote this whole story not knowing, I had no idea about what the fashion world was like, with the exception of watching The Devil Wears Prada.
Right.
And it was imaginative, so it was like a blank canvas for me to be able to write and just go berserk with it. And it's partly my story, but it also entailed what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, and ironically, what I wrote came into fruition. So it really began to happen.
Wow.
And I started by myself. I had no idea how to publish a book. I just started in between phone calls at AT&T.
Right.
And 6 months later, I got with a publishing company called Author House, which was a self-publishing company. You have to pay for everything.
Right.
So $3,000 later, I had a book.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, now I have a book. What do I do with it? And
Read it.
I had to go buy books
Right.
to sell.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, and they're $7 a piece. So I'm like, okay. So I had to do it in real short increments. And
You was the master P of the book game. You buy your own books, put them in the
You
trunk.
had to do everything.
Right,
Yeah,
and I heard I hear drug dealers, they become authors, but they buy in huge, massive amounts. Because the more you buy,
Right.
the less it is.
Exactly.
But I'm not a drug dealer, and I didn't have that kind of money.
I'm glad you said that on the mic. Thank you
I
for
was
letting the world know
I
that.
was buying about 50 books at a time, and
Right.
But at the time, Elon Harris had just died, and he was really a prominent figure that I looked up to. And
Right.
it was like 3 weeks before that I had met him, and I did an event to commemorate his legacy as a writer,
Right.
and that was what kind of pushed me in. And then the next thing was my book signing. I had a Human Bookstore.
Human Books, yeah.
And that was my
Rest
my
in
next,
peace.
And shout out to Camille Evans, who helped me publicize that book signing, which was a huge success. And I got an inbox from this lady named Delvon Forbes, and she was like,
Who's also very popular. Your partner, Yvonne.
Yeah. So this is 2012 now. Like all this is going on,
Uh-huh.
and I never stopped writing, by the way. So I
Right.
have 2 books on the market, 5 books written.
Nice.
So it's 3 more that I have to put out. And I had a feeling somehow that I was going to end up in a different world other than writing at the time, so that's why I never stopped writing.
But it says a lot because you had a job, a good job in corporate world. Mm-hmm. How did that take with your family and close friends that, hey, listen, I'm going to go write a book. I'm going to spend all this money with, it's something that a lot of people from older generations say you work 25 years, get the gold watch,
right?
And you go to dust. But how did the people who's close to you take the fact that you want to go on?
They didn't believe in it.
Right.
Dust.
They were like, oh, he's writing a book. Oh my goodness, give me a break. Mm-hmm. Like all that was going on. So they really didn't think that. And I remember one of my best friends, I was like, I need $1,500. And nobody believed it.
It's got to be a really good friend.
You must be crazy. So I was like, okay.
I'm not turning your phone back on.
So I was determined to get this whole project going.
Right.
And I did it. And so anyway, back to meeting Yvonne. So she wanted to do my makeup for the book signing. So I'm like, who is this lady? She inboxes me. I'm like, okay, fine. So she comes with her, her luggage, and she does my makeup and everything. And at the time, I was doing a lot of red carpet events promoting the book. So people would always ask me, are you a stylist? And people always thought I was a stylist. And I was like, no, I'm an author. Which kind of was almost like a downplay because I was always in the fashion places. And I was like, no, I'm just an author, not a stylist.
I'm just here, for the buffet. What's wrong with that, man? I go places. I'm just here for the buffet.
We know you do. We've watched you.
See,
leave me alone in the corner while I'm eating. Just leave me alone.
We were talking earlier before you got here. We were talking about Mel B, right? And Mel B said she had a sex addiction. So we were asking everybody what were they addicted to. Rodeo said fast food. So he's been talking about food references the whole show. So I guess
I didn't say fast food. I said food.
Well, you only go to fast food restaurants,
no, I
so
don't.
I figured. But anyway, this is about Delvon.
Because I live a fast life. I don't mean I eat fast food.
Yeah, because you want to be behind the truck. But in any event, so you mentioned about the 1,500.
Yeah, so Yvonne,
continue.
So Yvonne did my makeup that night, and after the book signing, she asked me if I would come on, because she's a fashion PR. And amongst other things, including the co-host of Fashion Etc.
Right.
So she asked me to come on as to style her clients, and that's where my styling work took off. And she kind of took me under her wing. And next thing I know, I'm at Fashion Week and doing all these shows. And I did some work with Love and Hip Hop, VH1, Mob Wives. Just a plethora of people. And then from there, we created Fashion in the Fast Lane, which is the main company, and Fashion Etc., which is our talk show, is a subsidiary of it. And me and her created that in 2012, and we've just been going at it hard ever since.
It just goes to show that, and I know we've experienced that here and what we've done, but it just goes to show sometimes you just got to roll the dice on you. If you can't roll the dice on yourself, then why would anybody else? Now, if you never took that leap with the book, you never would have met Yvonne, you never would have began that career in the fashion game.
Right.
And, first time meeting you, but obviously through correspondence and stuff, we've communicated, and it's just who you are. If you wear it on your sleeve, it's nothing. If anybody would say that guy's got to be in the fashion game, and that's a great feeling to somebody to say that. I've gotten people now that say, oh wow, even when I was working with my day job, you have a radio voice. Nobody know I did radio. But again, sometimes the careers and the things you aspire to do, it becomes you.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a pub author, but I had a problem.
You can't write and you can't read.
No, it wasn't. I'm not a read.
Unless you're doing picture books.
It was,
Kill my landlord.
No,
you gonna do picture
it was
books?
some of the words I couldn't spell. Though. I just gave up.
Has hat.
You can write a Ebonics book. And you know what?
I can help you write a book.
Yeah.
Huh?
I can help you.
Nah, you don't want to do that to yourself.
Get out!
Don't. I'm trying to save your brain. Don't do that
It's been
to
a
yourself.
year. We've been on this first chapter, Rodeo.
You've been on the first page for a year.
But let me ask you: now that you're in the fashion world, I mean, do you now you have to go pick out fabric? Do you sew and make your own outfits and all that?
No.
Well, that's what Yvonne's for. Get in that room and sew them pants.
I can't sew. I can't draw. I can't do anything. I'm more of a media personality.
Oh, okay.
I do a lot of red carpet events. I think the last thing I did was the Glad Media Awards. So I meet lots of celebrities that way, and I do wardrobe styling. However, I stopped because people don't like to pay. So
that's another
unless
thing.
you,
Oh, Lord, we know about that.
Unless you're on the Hollywood scene and you're dealing with like the Denzel Washingtons and the Holly Berrys and all those big people, the Rachel Zoes and all those, they don't want to pay. So
Really?
Yvonne and I also have a magazine, FITFL magazine, which is the initials for fashion in the fast lane. So I limited my styling down to just working with our brand and her clients.
Right.
So if she has a model that needs to be styled for a photo shoot or something like that, then I'm all game.
So y'all dress like you could actually dress a person, tell them, this is what you should wear.
Oh yeah, and we
like
know
that.
tons of designers, so we go back and forth. Which designer is going to be best for this photo shoot? Then we let's get the accessories, let's get the shoes. My house is filled with all that stuff. So
Now, how much are you charging, if you don't mind me asking?
my base minimum is $500 a day.
That must be some outfit.
Right. Just I'm in the wrong business.
But that's a whole day though. That's
Yeah.
like from like let's say it was just a celebrity. you
Right.
know. It's like okay, well I want to sit down with them because you have to get to know the person. In my mind, you have to get to know them, what they like,
Right.
you know, what their style is, what their thoughts are, and then you go from there. And it's a day, either going to designers' houses or to the stores or whatever they feel comfortable with.
Right.
And then from there, once you get the outfit picked out, then you get the accessories and
like
shoes, and okay, well, now we need to get a makeup artist, we need to get hair, all that stuff comes into play. So at the end of the day, it's a long day.
Yeah.
So, but then again, at the same time, there's been instances when it's been done on a whim. Yvonne and I would work with Yvonne. One of Yvonne's clients was Maya Rudolph's daughter, and the stylist that was supposed to be there didn't show up, and she didn't have any clothes. And I was just there, just kind of hanging out with Yvonne. So I ended up styling her that day, and like
How'd you do that? Where'd you find it? You just use
I
what?
snatched her up. We went to Shore Hills Mall, and I started pulling stuff off the rack, and I got paid for it. And but sometimes it's not a 12-hour day. It has to be like, let's hurry up and
Spur
get
of
it
the
done.
moment.
Right.
So you have to know how to be able to, move in and out.
Do you lay?
We're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
Because we got to pay bills.
Sorry.
But when we come back, we're going to continue about the fashion. But I also want to dive in the fact that you're dealing with something that you deal with every day, a personal struggle that I know that can support and help a lot of people. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. It's Delvon Johnson. 9 Feet Lounge live on a Saturday. Come on back.
All right.
We're back on the ride now. 9 Feet Lounge live Saturday morning. Broadcasting from the DSN Network, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, WRMN, wherever you want to slice it. Taking a couple of minutes out of your holiday weekend. We're still with Delvon Johnson. And we were talking about fashion, but I wanted to kind of transition a little bit because as stylish as Delvon is, he deals with something that a lot of people deal with daily. And I'm going to let you talk about that.
Oh, yeah, well, my dialysis, I'm assuming is what you're referring to.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with kidney failure, and I had to go on dialysis. And it was, at first it was a challenge for me. It was a lifestyle change because, no more working. And,
Right.
I mean, but I had to look at it from a different perspective. And I looked at it like, okay, well, first of all, I don't got to go to work no more. And then, after I got used to it, I was like, how in the world did I get up at 6 o'clock every morning, get dressed, be in traffic, coffee, and getting breakfast? I had no idea how I did it.
Right.
So it also gave me time to write while I was on the machine, doing, I'm on for 3 hours and 45 minutes, 3 times a week. So it still does allow me to do things, now for myself that I wasn't able to do while working corporate.
Right.
A lot of people aren't able to follow their dreams because they have to pay bills and they have to go to work every day.
Right.
And it was I looked at it as a blessing in disguise because then I was able to really take a larger portion of my life and follow my dreams as I've been able to do. And it's brought me a lot of success in what I do and just enjoying life and enjoying the journey that I do. And it's hard, it's not easy, but I'm able to follow, really, really follow my dreams the way I want to do it.
So you've turned the negative into a positive.
Yeah, and that's just the way to be,
And
especially in this day and age.
And you still living life. That's because something happened, that didn't stop you from living life. You know,
I think I live it more now than I did then.
Exactly.
You know that you appreciate it now than you did then. Before it was just like, I'm just gonna go to work every day. Now it's like, a lot of things could have happened. I might not have been here.
Yeah.
Like certain other people, right?
Yeah.
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 And I'm not ashamed to say I'm also an Uber driver. In between my running all over the place.
And you were with them nails.
And
like, oh yes.
And you
I'm gonna do it tonight before I go to the bar.
You was an Uber driver. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You came up here late and you an Uber driver. You supposed to be on time.
Oh, I was flying though. I was flying. I was dipping and dashing through traffic. Ask Yvonne, she'll tell you.
Well, I'm glad you made it here safe.
We left, I think, at 10:20, and we got here.
Y'all were already
10:50.
late.
We was here.
Yeah, go on.
I know, right? We had to get coffee and, for the road.
Well, let's talk about the book, the
Okay.
new book. I know you got the first and second one, Mirror, Mirror. The sequel to the critically acclaimed novel, Love Yourself First, Delvon Johnson. Talk about how, and I like to ask book authors, how they come up with their titles. What's the reference behind the title? And tell us a little bit, give us some intrigue about the book without selling the book all the way through.
Okay, so the title Mirror Mirror came from it's a story. Love Yourself First was the first book, and then there was a second book called Be Careful What You Ask For. I was offered a book deal only for ebooks for the sequel to Love Yourself First, and I took it. And the company disappeared. They completely disappeared, and I didn't get any.
royalties.
I'm sorry. Wait. So there's a company. Not just so I can. There's a company, and then you sign to them. You have a contract with them, and then they just.
The guy something happened with the guy. He got really sick. He was from Virginia.
There's a lot of that going on today with Virginians, huh? We got a lot of that in the building.
I mean, they approached it. They did reach out to me,
right.
And they set everything up. They put it on the Apple. They put it all over the place. And then for some reason, something happened, and he got sick. His name, oh gosh, I can't even remember. His name escapes my mind in a moment. But I didn't get the Be Careful What You Ask For. I didn't get the drive that it really needed.
Right.
And at the time, it was only on ebook, and Fashion in the Fast Lane was being formed. So I didn't have the time to really put focus on promoting it the way I did the first book. So I said, okay, I'm gonna rewrite, because this was 2012, 2013.
Right.
That Be Careful What You Ask For was about to came out as an ebook. So I said, okay, I'm gonna re-edit Be Careful What You Ask For, rename it, and re-put it back out as a hard copy and as a ebook.
Right.
So that's why it's called Mirror Mirror, because it's a reflection of the second book.
Right.
So that's how I came up with the title of it and the scenario of it. The first book is really in the high world of the fashion, and everyone has Mercedes Benzes and Range Rovers, all that's going on. So in the second book, I wanted to come from a perspective of someone that really didn't know that world. They were kind of a everyday hardworking person that fell into that world, and that's kind of the premise of Mirror Mirror. And
Right.
interesting enough, it's a huge part of it had to do with the Me Too movement, which when I wrote it, there was no such thing.
Right.
And it's just interesting that, like, it's about a young lady. She starts in the fashion industry. She's just like a temp for a company. Always wanted to work in fashion, and she meets a young lady that has a huge name in fashion, who's in the first book, and it just so happens that a guy that she meets and begins to date lives in the same building that this lady lives in, and they meet, and she takes her under her wing and starts to show her, says, oh, you could be a model. She's like, well, I always tried, I never got the opportunity. And which she introduces her to a model scout who really gives her that chance to be the model she wants to be, but for a price. And we know what that price is.
It was all a dream.
You got to read the book to find out what the price is.
No, motherfucker.
Enough said. Somebody up there eating breakfast. Well, what do you have to pay for? You got
you're
to buy the
gonna
book
learn
now.
today. Read the book. We're gonna find out.
We got that mahogany casting couch, huh? Just waiting for you.
Oh boy.
No, my brother, you have to get your own.
Now, Fashion Week is fast approaching, so I know it's like kind of like the Super Bowl, and everybody's revving up. What's some of the things out there that I guess new or
Like our brothers like us could wear. You
Yeah.
see how we dress. What's some ideas?
Dashikis, you know what I'm saying?
Dashiki.
Bellissimo.
the Nick Cannon turban?
It was funny. I was just in the store the other day. I just happened to be in the supermarket. I was just thumbing through like what the trends are for this fall. And honestly, I don't really follow trends. Even though there are trends, I really don't follow them. I really don't care about them. From what I read, it was like florals are gonna be in this fall.
Oh Jesus.
Animal print, patterns.
For men and women?
I think that was primarily for women.
Oh, okay.
I really haven't done my research, unfortunately, for the men's
all right.
side.
That's all
But
right.
I mean, I imagine like, for me, I just do what I want to do.
You create your own.
I create
fashion.
So if Rodeo walks into your office and style, you just take a look and say, okay,
Can you? Yeah.
I'm gonna just design them up, based on
I've
their
done
vision.
that. I've done that for plenty of
just
clients.
off the wall. Just
Plenty of
grab
clients.
something.
Yeah, I'll just be like, I speak to you first and say, well, what's your colors? What do you like? That sort of thing. One time, me and her client were going to an event, and he was dressed crazy. And I was like, take him to the store right now.
Wait. What's
on a
crazy?
whim.
I need to hear what crazy. Because when people say crazy, I'm thinking they have like yellows and blues and greens all mixed in
He had
together.
maybe a three-piece suit on or something.
They still wear three-piece
The
suits?
colors didn't match, and
three-piece.
and his hair was all. It was really crazy. Yvonne was like, no, she was her client.
Well,
She
2
was
out
like,
of 3
no.
people here wouldn't even qualify in the hair part. But well, Just is the oddball.
That's how I keep telling y'all. I give out donations. Give me like another 3 months. I'm giving out donations to this right here.
But I mean, I would say the thing for men now is custom
Right.
and things fitting properly.
Yeah.
Right.
No more sagging jeans. That's the 90s.
It's funny you
Nah,
mention
yeah,
that because
yeah.
I just went through a major weight loss, and it's like everything in my closet I had to go buy new stuff. So even the stuff I was buying just didn't fit right. So I've had to now go like with suits, with custom blazers,
Yeah.
because the seam is a little bit different than what I would buy, and for the arm length that fits the waist.
It's more
Right.
form-fitting
Yeah,
now.
right,
It's more
yeah.
form-fitting
Also,
now.
like you said, the suits. I brought a couple of suits, and the pants I had them like raised slightly up. Not like how I was, but you wear them a little bit up now instead of wearing
but
them down.
But wear socks, please. Everybody wear socks.
No, I like
That
this
whole
new
sock
thing with
with
no
the-
sockless
Depends on
slides.
Yo,
The
depends
sockless
on
slide
what you
on?
wear.
No, why not? Why?
That's just.
Talk to me. What's wrong
That's
with
called
that?
fungi.
What about?
Yo, what about like a nice nice fitted linen suit? With a
You
pair.
moving to Miami?
No, linen suit. No, I'm talking about for now. I'm talking about
It's
now.
September. What you
We
mean?
can still wear. Look, you wearing shorts.
It's Labor Day weekend.
We wear
wear
shorts. No, we wear
shorts.
shorts because it's 9,000 degrees in the studio. Shout out
We're
to
in the old
TSA.
Boston Garden. You didn't know that?
9,000 degrees. We all up here sweating. That's why we all wear shorts.
the studio. Is
What do you think you are,
fantastic.
Sonny?
No, but
Ricardo
I'm saying,
Tubbs
but
gonna
that's
wear
what I'm
linen
saying, but
suits?
that's what's going. I know a lot of you wear the suits. It's like the pants are not. It's not down
They're not
to
as
the
long.
to the shoe.
You
They
trying
up a
to
little.
trying to get in Delvon Things fashion show or
Huh?
something? The linen
No,
suit.
wait. Now,
I think
you
cotton
used to always try to follow my style.
I stopped.
Yeah. Can't
got
do it
smart.
no more.
But I personally, I'm not a linen person because the linen gets wrinkled so easy. So I'd really go for
Not on rodeo. Rodeo is like he don't move like a robot.
Your book bag.
Like I said, I go in the corner. Leave
I
me
will not
alone.
sit down.
You like this. Ah, don't touch me. Look. Let's just rub on me. Just rub
Oh, but
on
the linen suits, like the 2 pieces with the short
Yeah.
sleeves, I don't have to worry.
Nah, I don't.
Those are the no.
Yeah, you gotta move to like Mexico or something.
No, but I'm talking about you go on those white affairs. That's what happens. People be wearing.
So what I would do if I was going on an all white affair, it would be a cotton white suit. And then that's when you can wear the, pants that's got the little bit of a high water feel to it. But it's the shoes that count at that point. So it should be like
Gotta
a
be
hush
the
puppy
shoes.
or a driving shoe
Right.
or a Todd's.
But why socks though? Why not go, with the...
No, you don't have to do socks.
Oh,
in that,
no,
in that
and then this is okay.
because you're on a boat,
Right, yeah.
or if you're walking across the beach,
Right.
that sort of
Don't
thing.
go in the office on Monday morning with no socks.
Why not? Why not? If you fashionable, you could get away with it. Well, you go ahead, wear no socks.
Listen, now
It
the
depends on the
office
shoe.
people wearing what they want to wear.
It depends on the shoe and the pant.
Right.
If it's a casual, like a khaki, and it's a suede, casual, you know, hush puppy sort of shoe, that you can get away with.
I see that.
But not an Oxford.
No, I see
Nah,
that
nah,
they bringing
Oxford,
out
nah,
the
nah, I don't
Esprit.
understand
But I've
that.
seen people do
Nah,
it.
everybody's doing that now. I noticed that a lot of guys are wearing, you know, the regular pointed shoes, hard bottoms, and
Right.
no socks on, and I'm like,
I even see now.
At least you can put the little foot booty on if that's the case. Go to the women's store and get the little foot
whole
booty.
charade.
You know?
I see the guys. They
Definitely
now they
bottom of
also
your foot.
wearing the Toms, like the espadrilles. You know.
Oh.
Like like the Toms. You know they like I be seeing that like downtown a lot. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I be seeing it.
You know you do it. You
No,
know
man.
you do it. Look at you. Don't be
I
a
have a
guy.
friend that wears it like that. Delvon, this has been. We got a few more minutes. Again, fashion. You know, overcoming adversity. Book author. What's the next step for you? I mean, radio. What's the next step for you? Where do you see yourself transitioning to? You've done a lot,
Yeah.
but you ain't done. So what's the next step?
Well, there's a few. I have a few things on my bucket list. One of the things, because from my very, very beginning, I've always loved music, and I went to school for music. I graduated from North School of Fine and Performing Arts for singing. Sung on the Apollo, sung with Jennifer Hudson, sung with CeCe Peniston, all these different people I sang with, and I kind of got scared at one point and was like, I don't know if I want to lose my privacy and because American Idol at the time was coming to New York. It was like their first season, and I was like, do you really want to do this? And I kind of backed away from it. But it was always in my mind that, you know what, it's a talent that I have and I want to use it. So I wrote a song, and I'm planning on going in the studio and recording it.
Can you give us a little sample, like a little?
No.
You know.
All right, Bobby Blue Band, thank you. Albert, this man's an entrepreneur. You want to spend $10.95.
There you go. Yes. $10.95 for this.
I don't say for nobody for free.
So that's one of the things I really want to do.
Right.
And another thing I really want to do, Yvonne keeps looking at me with the side eyes. I want to do a reality show.
I can see
I can see that.
And the primary reason why, I don't care what reality show it could be. It could be a cooking channel network for all I care. But the main reason why is because it's a smart tool to promote yourself and who you are. You don't have to be out there fighting and rolling all over the ground and doing all that craziness. But really focusing on your brand. And I could be like, oh yeah,
I could see you telling somebody's business. Oh man, he'd be at the table at the lounge. Yeah, you know, Rodeo was like, what?
Rodeo want to wear linen.
But, you know, Rodeo, you know I am. What?
Real quick, give us when the show comes back, information on the book and where people can reach out to you.
All right, so the book is on Amazon, of course. You can find it at Barnes & Nobles. You just go up and ask them for it, and they should either show you what shelf it's on, or they'll order it for you and it'll be shipped to your house. My Facebook is my name, Delvon Johnson. Yvonne, Miss Diva Daz Forbes, because we also Facebook, we're Facebook Live, so that's where you can see the show. And we resume this Tuesday, September 5th, right after Labor Day. So if after you guys are hungover and after your party and barbecues, turn on your Facebook and come to our page.
That's what you be doing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be hungover. He gonna be on my hey everybody. This is Delvon.
Some days, one show we had wine on the show, and me and Yvonne were both like totally cross-eyed after the show. But it was a lot of fun though. And then also, if you missed the show live, you can watch it on the CNB network. That's our new network that we've got picked up over the summer.
Congratulations on that.
From that. I said we did our 100th show over the summer. And that lady gets on my nerves sometimes. But I love her though.
There you
we
go.
attached to the hip.
Again, I'm sorry.
Our Twitter is at FastLaneN. On Instagram, it's Fashion in the Fast Lane. My personal is at Fabulous Book.
Okay.
So that's how you can find us.
Again, thanks so much for coming. Continued success.
Thanks for having us.